Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio. I am your host, Ryan Knightsey, the voice of the tasteless. I forgot the bit. And welcome to Ring Post Radio, the only show that does it twice. That's a reference that I think Scotty will get. Scotty will understand. This is not our first time doing this. I am your host, Ryan Knightsey, the voice of the tasteless, and with me, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how are you doing on this fine Sunday morn?
Doing great. Sometimes you just got to turn back the curtain, folks, and listen. This is not how it was supposed to go. We had a couple minutes cooked in to a recording already, and YouTube didn't want to work with us.
Yeah, StreamYard said it was streaming, but
Yeah.
when you go to YouTube, there was nothing happening.
No, but now we're here. It's fine.
Mhm.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
I'm
Everyone
fine.
Calm down. Everyone, calm down.
Yeah, I'm not calm. But it's unfortunate. We had some good bits in the 4 minutes of action, but we'll have to let them go and move forward. Here, I'll sum it up. Ryan can't sleep. I have a coffee that's not Dunkin' Donuts.
Some of the great bits, some of the best bits we've ever done on Ring Post Radio.
You had to be there.
You had to be there, folks. But yeah, we got a good show for us today. A lot of stuff, interesting stuff to talk about. Obviously, AEW Full Gear took place last night. We'll go in depth on that show. WWE Survivor Series is taking place next weekend, along with some other shows that, of course, we'll talk about. I think if time permitting, we'll talk about historic crossover from New Japan and Stardom. And of course, TNA Turning Point is also happening this Friday. So if time permitting, typically when these sort of episodes, we go long on AEW talk, which I enjoy, and I think a lot of our listeners enjoy, but we'll see how long that talk, I guess, lasts. Because there's a lot of matches, a lot of stuff to discuss, a lot of good, a lot of bad. And I guess we'll start off with Full Gear, Scotty, of course, because that show, of course, took place last night. And I before we get to any of the matches, obviously, I like to talk about the overall vibes coming out of the show. I thought the show was fine. Fine to, there's some good, great matches in here, right? But overall, was it a slam dunk pay-per-view? No. Was it their worst pay-per-view? I don't think it was the worst pay-per-view, but I think what's difficult, especially when you're a podcaster and discussing or reviewing all this stuff, is that a fine show, a boring show is really difficult to talk about. And I kind of feel like that's what we got here with Full Gear. What is your opinion over the overall presentation of AEW Full Gear from last night?
I feel worse about AEW now than I did a year ago.
I mean, I think that's fair. I think that's
which is fair. Not good.
Last
year here's the problem.
Last year was bad.
I know. Last year was bad. But here's the problem. Here's where I realized this yesterday. I was like, okay, the world champion's not MJF. John Moxley's fine as world champion. They have great wrestlers yet. Like, I went down this list, right? And I was like, this is why, because I'm just not feeling it. Everything should be better than last year, and it's just not. I don't think it's worse because, like, last year, listen. The MJF universe was not good, right? It was real bad, especially around this time last year.
I'll even say that, like, the storytelling last year was like almost to the point where it became like nonsensical, whereas this year it feels like the story. I know what's happening in all of this in the stories.
Exactly, you know what's happening. Do we like what's happening? That's a different story. There's a lot of things going on, but. And I don't want to come onto this podcast and be the bad faith I hate AEW guy, because I don't hate AEW. I am not one of the many that hate AEW. But at the same time, had the Continental Classic not been starting on Wednesday, I'd probably just not be watching TV on Wednesday, for example. Because this show, outside of 2 or 3 things, did not click for me, and it's very unfortunate. It's not their worst pay-per-view. World's End was their worst pay-per-view, or one of the All Out from a couple of years ago when MJF fought Moxley. But I'm watching this and I'm watching the way the show ended, and I'm just like, what is going on? Like, I don't know what's going on in this company right now. But I do. You know, like I understand what's going on, but when I'm watching it, I'm like, why is this going on? You know, it's like it's really weird. And I think the show closing angle was the perfect way to capture all of my feelings in one thing because so much was happening. I was just like, I feel like I was like, I'm watching. I'm like, I feel like Kenny Omega needs to walk in the door or something, or I'm gonna like lose it. Not walk in the door.
I track all of the story beats that's happening. It's coming off weirdly chaotic, which is also part of the story, right? Like part of the story is there's chaos, is that that like Orange Cassidy wants to defend his friends, but they're going to ignore him. And, the only people that are actually against Mox right now at this point in time are the conglomeration, right? Everyone else, Private Party, Daniel Garcia, have gone out and won titles, right? And they're doing their own thing now, which is good, but they're not part of this story anymore.
Yeah.
Then you have the Hangman Adam Page and Christian working together to try to get Christian to win the title. Jay White upset with Christian, ruins it, but now by doing so has inserted himself into the title picture. And then Darby is obviously the sort of like the demon driving around, slamming in the cars in the background. And so part of that is like super chaotic. You have all of these figures that have like everyone's like selfish in a weird way. Like obviously the title picture for World's End, Page, Christian, White, probably. They're all like selfish. No one's working together except the conglomeration. But even them, they aren't working with Orange Cassidy because Orange doesn't want to hurt them in that way. You know what I mean? Right. And then you got all this other stuff. But it's like, I think what it is that it's too much. It's too much happening at one time.
Oh, that is the definition of what happened at the end of that show.
Yeah, way too much at one time where it didn't cross into like fever dream of like this is all great and I don't know what's happening, but it's great. To me, that's like a fever dream element. This was like, I don't know what's happening, but I know what's happening, but it's not, something's not clicking and connecting here, which is frustrating. It's frustrating as a viewer to be like, to that point, and maybe you'll agree with this, Scotty. The storytelling in AEW, I think, has gotten better. I think we can maybe agree upon that. Is that
last year?
Earlier this year, even, I'll say, maybe a couple months ago. Maybe someone high up in the writings room suddenly left the company, I don't know, about August or so, and all of a sudden the storytelling has gotten more succinct and understandable. I don't know who that may be, who may have left the writers' room in August. That was a higher up in the writers' room. I don't know. Just naming it.
Ryan Danielson?
Oh, no. I was gonna say another guy that has not Jeff Jarrett, but another Double J. But I think the storytelling has gotten better. But I think the way they're telling the story, they haven't figured out the presentation yet, and I think that's where the disconnect is. And a good story is good, but if you're not telling it well, I think you're going to lose people. And it sounds like it's losing you, Scotty.
Oh, it sure is. I mean, I've been saying this for a while now, but, I keep giving it hope. And now, like, the C2 is here. So it's like, there's going to be this nice Band-Aid for a month. Right?
Yeah. I say all the story, but, like, does any of it matter when the C2 is happening?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's very confusing. And I think this is my main problem with AEW now, is there's so much happening at once. There's so much happening at once. And the fact that you walk away from it saying, but does it matter, is a problem. Because like I don't know if it's gonna matter. I don't know what's gonna matter. I think this Moxley Death Riders thing is starting to slowly not be good for me, which is a shame because I was very into it when it started. I was very into it the first couple of weeks. And now it's just like, and it's part of what you were saying. It's like the only good thing I could take from the end of the show segment is there were actual main eventers involved,
which is good. I think an improvement, which is what we've all been asking for.
But again, one of those main eventers is trying to help someone else become world champion. One of those main eventers who continuously loses in every match he wrestles for some reason. But it's a weird spot we're at right now.
Yeah.
For me. And watching this show, I walked away saying, "Oh, I don't need to watch. I can just like start doing what I do with like Raw or SmackDown with Dynamite is watch little parts here and there, watch a good match, and call it a day." C2's here though, so I will watch full show now. So they're lucky. Their timing's lucky, I don't know. It's just I don't even know what the solution is. It's just like there are things to appreciate from this pay-per-view.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk
There
about
are
it, of course.
legitimate things to appreciate from this pay-per-view. I think 3 things specifically nailed what they were supposed to nail, and everything else was this was a struggle or this was a problem, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah, and I think maybe part of it as well is that like the live crowd element of it all. You have obviously everything that's happening in the stadium, right?
Sure.
And then obviously you go to the live stuff of the car stuff in the back, and that's obviously taped or live to tape, all these sort of things. And obviously you can't show that in the arena. That's whatever. But I think there was just almost too much happening. And I also think that so here's a thing I thought about as I was resting my little head last night was what is interesting is that I do like the fact that the show closing angle did not have anyone come out to music. There's gonna be a very specific nitpick in a weird way, and not really a nitpick. I like that no one came out to music. But the crowd in AEW, whereas it once was exciting, and you have obviously the ultimate Mox moment of him coming from the crowd, AEW Double or Nothing, popping up, destroying Omega and Jericho, and leaving all that stuff. Like at one point where like that worked. In this company, it feels like this crowd has now been fully trained to look for music first and pop to the music.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like no one really reacted when a lot of these people came out.
Willow got a good pop. That was about it.
Willow got a good pop. Obviously, Darby got a pop, but that's different. Yeah,
Hangman got a realization.
Yeah, Hangman was
it wasn't
sort of
a pop. It was like
huh? Excuse me? And then Christian came out and was like, well, it's a lot of that right now. The reactions that we're getting from the crowd, I think, and I think we're getting what we're sort of circling around and from the online audiences, it's not really a gasp of excitement or fervor, happiness, whatever, something cool is happening. It's more of like what's this? Like, this is a new this is a new development. I'm interested in it. The crowd, I think, was interested in the show closing angle, but it was just sort of like, that's not a good reaction that telegraphs on screen properly. And maybe the music could have helped with that excitement just to artificially inflate that excitement. I guess
I think the crowd does a good job of capturing the mood of AEW all times, right? Like when the crowds were hotter than hot, the brand, and that's kind of how wrestling goes. If a crowd is hot, the show's going to be hot no matter what, and
listen to the crowd.
I think this wasn't a bad crowd, but the way that this company is booked right now and what they're watching, I think they kind of reacted to exactly that. That's how they were reacting throughout the show.
They don't know how to react.
Exactly. You know what I mean? The good stuff got the reactions. The bad stuff got nothing. And I think that's just where we are right now. And this will be the last time I say this, but they're lucky they have the C2. But if Ricochet's in the C2, I might be out.
Oh, I want the Beast Mortis in the C2. That's my dream. You got the Beast Mortis in there.
Mark Briscoe.
Yeah,
Mark Briscoe will be in it, but like
yeah,
this year, Mark Briscoe, where they just put a guy in there to lose a lot, but have great matches.
Yeah, yeah. I can see Commander being in there and being also like losing a lot, but I don't think he's going to be in there. I don't know how big
many people.
How big is it? It's
14,
5,
right?
Is it 14? What is this?
14 total.
Continental Classic. Because I thought last year was like 10 or something.
It would be really cool if we could check this year's bracket, but
it was
6 for 12.
It was 12 people last year. Okay, so what is it this year? I assume also 12. Do we know?
We don't know. We don't know anything because it's Selection Sunday.
Yeah, Wikipedia says 12. And yes, Selection Sunday, we should know by the end of day today, end of day of us recording.
Oh my god, I forgot this was the tournament that they did at the Reway.
Yeah. Yes, correct. So yeah, we will know by the end of today who is in the Continental Classic.
We know 2 people.
We know 2, Okada, obviously.
Okada and Danny G.
Danny G. There's just Mark Briscoe seems like he's going to be in it.
Okay. Hear me out here.
Yeah.
Because Danny G's in it, you gotta change what the winner gets because it's looking really silly at the moment. He just won a title. He doesn't need to be in this.
I think he can be in it, but I think what that tells me is he's definitely not winning it. Unless
a new Triple Crown?
A new Triple Crown.
The Triple Crown of professional wrestling?
Because that's the Triple Crown. We got the Continental title, right? We got the TNT title. And guess what? The finals or whatever that's happening, Max simulcast is around the corner. The Max title, all 3 title belts in the ring, new Triple Crown. Let's get into it, folks.
If they make a new belt, I will lose my mind.
With my friend last night, he jokingly asked about the Max title, and he had a good point of like, it would be funny if just New Year's Day MJF comes out and unveils the Max title, and it's like his own like Dwayne the Rock Johnson. It's what's the People Champion, the Brahma Bull title that he's coming out with.
That's funny.
And I was like, yeah, and then a babyface kills him. And then I thought to myself, well, they also did just get rid of the FTW title, so I don't think it's out of the question. I don't think it's necessarily out of the question, but we'll see. Yeah, so an interesting show. I guess we'll talk about the main event since we're already here. We've already talked about all the show closing angle aspect of it all. I thought the match was great. I thought Orange Cassidy's blood looked better here than it has in previous matches with Moxley and Orange. I thought they worked really well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was a great match. It was well worked. It just had the show closing angle of sort of a weird vibe, I guess. But ultimately, I think it was a great, solid match. I really don't have a lot of thoughts in the main event. It's all the show closing angle. I thought these guys worked well. I don't think they worked as well as they did in the past, in a weird way, but I still thought it was a well-worked match. Scotty, any thoughts on this main event?
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go like high on it or anything. It was just kind of there. I don't know. Moxley matches are weird for me at the moment. Like, and I like Moxley a lot. I'm not one of the guys that hates Jon Moxley. There's a lot of people that hate Jon Moxley these days. I don't hate him, but I watched this match and I was like, it's just the flow is not clicking. I think for me, like there is a weird flow to the way, because I understand what they're going for. He's this destroyer that, goes through people, which is fine because that's essentially been what he's been his entire run.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do that, I feel like you should have a way more decisive win.
Yeah, the finish being the sort of like briefcase distraction stuff, and Mox getting sort of he does, hits his finisher, but gets the win that way.
The Basaiku knee.
Yeah, like the finish being that, and I guess it makes sense. Again, this is part of the story and all this other stuff, but like the idea, and I'm not going to just poo-poo. Here's the thing, right? I'm not gonna poo-poo the idea of like if it's not part of the story, then it's bad. But like this was part of the story. The story is that Orange Cassidy actively didn't want his friends to be involved. And so the numbers game got to him very simply and easily, right? That's
I
very,
agree.
but like, I don't,
This is the first defense. Make it a decisive win.
yeah. I think like,
Especially following the way Wrestle Dream ended.
I think this story told Orange Cat was more so the finish of the match, more so put over Orange Cassidy's failings as a leader than John Moxley's domination as a force.
Yeah.
Right? Like the finish of the match is that Orange Cassidy did not count for Wheeler Yuta, did not count for all these numbers, or he did and actively chose against it because he didn't want his because he's too loyal or too loving of his friends. And that was bad for him. And that's it. It wasn't about like John Moxley outsmarted Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy allowed this to happen to him. So he got his, in a weird way, comeuppance for his incorrect call, right? It's his failings are the finish.
I also think the problem is that this should not have followed Bobby and Swerve because they were doing the same type of match.
Oh, it should not have followed Garcia Perry, Ricochet Takeshita, Bobby Swerve.
Well, yeah, the entire making of this card was a choice.
So many things of the babyface working from underneath the entire time in matches that did not need to be the case.
Yeah, I agree on that. But like, I watched Bobby and Swerve, and I thought they nailed what they were supposed to do for that match. And then I watched this match, and I'm like, this is supposed to be very, very similar.
But bloody?
But bloody, which is fine. That's a fine element to change things up. I understand the use of blood. But like, it was in some ways the exact same because I'm like, they're making Bobby Lashley feel like this monster who's, unbeatable. He beat Swerve clean at the end of the day.
He beat two guys on Wednesday.
Right. He beat Swerve clean, by the way, the former world champion. But John Moxley, the guy that's supposed to be taking over AEW, does not beat Orange Cassidy clean. I understand that works to the leader part, yada, yada, yada. But I just would have had a decisive win here. This is the type of match I feel like you want to have with like Mark Briscoe, not Orange Cassidy. This one that they did, because one, I think people would be way more into it. I just think that's the connection Mark Briscoe has right now, and it would have been like for the AEW World Championship for the first time, type like that. We've seen Orange Cassidy in this spot and with Moxley, so to me, it would have been fine to do the decisive one-sided win because I've seen them already do the Orange Cassidy can beat John Moxley match.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is that like I think like Mark Briscoe in a weird way would be more compelling as like a leader that people feel like they could rally behind. And I never thought that throughout this entire storyline that Orange Cassidy felt like a leader that I can rally behind. I think there are stronger people out there that can do that can fill that role. And ironically enough, Scotty, that is exactly the story that they want to tell, which the question is that good or bad? I think in a lot of ways it makes Orange Cassidy come off a little foolish, and he doesn't come off like a good leader, someone to follow. And I'm just sort of like, all right, you made a mistake, and why should I feel bad for Orange Cassidy right now? He was the one that fucked up here. And I don't see any reason why I should feel bad for this guy. And, him losing a match like this, it's like, I agree. A dominant win for Moxley is what needed. We need we said this in the preview is that there isn't enough domination with Moxley. The go home angle, we said we did our preview before we got the go home angle on Dynamite last Wednesday. And that was really bad and not dominant in any fashion. I needed like that go home angle.
That show was bad.
Mark Briscoe wasn't on the show, right? And
on this show, he was on that show.
Yeah, he was on Dynamite. What could you have done as the show closing angle? Have Moxley destroy Mark Briscoe into a bloody pulp, getting sympathy from everybody, showing showcasing even more so why Orange doesn't want his friends there. So that we have a better understanding why he feels that way. We're showing, not telling, right?
Yep.
and have a show closing bloody angle for Moxley so that he goes in, bloodies up Orange. Oh crap, the same thing's happening again from Mark to Orange. We transferred that shine over to Orange. It just none of that happened. Instead, we get schoolyard bully tactics, and it's storytelling that I understand, but it's not good. I don't think it's good here, and it's frustrating. And this is the big story. Better than last year. Well, you and I can both agree on that. Better than last year by a mile. but
that's the problem. That is ultimately my problem. It is better than last year, but I still I feel worse because it should be so much better than last year.
Yes.
It should be miles ahead. Look at their roster. Look who they have to work with. And
look,
yet
look who's in part of this story, you know?
Right, exactly. And I think that's the main stickler for me right now when I'm watching. They gotta pick this up to a level that I don't think they're going to at World's End because of the direction they have showed us we are going.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. Like it's a battle though, right? Because it's like, oh, it's good you're bringing more main eventers into this story.
Agreed.
It's bad though because there was a different direction I think that made way more sense. And I think you're right with had he like bloodied Mark Briscoe in the middle of the ring or something like that, it would have worked. Mark Briscoe wasn't on the show. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm sure there was a reason.
Yeah.
That being said, I see Kyle O'Reilly twice, and after Wednesday, I didn't want to see him once. So, I just had to get that in there.
And a good reason maybe you don't want to bloody up Mark Briscoe is that maybe he is moonwalking into the C2, and you don't want to do this angle. But like we've seen people get bloodied up and then they show back up. Like I think because then you can just tell the story of Mark Briscoe losing again if you wanted to, right?
Right.
He's coming in injured, and
Mark Briscoe just felt like the perfect opponent for this kind of match that they wanted to go for, while Orange Cassidy, because of the way they've built him through the years, he gets destroyed. It sets a message for the rest of the reign, and I think that's the problem. This was the first defense, not the second or third or fourth.
And that's why I like doing the Mark Briscoe bloody angle idea on Dynamite, because if you're not going to do Briscoe for this sort of defense and you want to do Orange Cassidy, that's fine. By doing something to Mark Briscoe and then doing it again to Orange, you're going to transfer that connectivity of sympathy to the two wrestlers. And now in here you lose a little bit of it by the lack of storytelling, I think. It is more cohesive. It's still missing marks for this.
It's missing Mark.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on with the show. We talked about it a little bit already. Bobby Lashley versus Swerve, a more even match, but definitely more dominant victory of Bobby Lashley. If I recall correctly, it was the Hurt Lock on Swerve
after the two spears. He was dead. You know?
Yes, which I like.
It's the image. It's the image that works. Like you walked out of this and you're like, oh, Bobby Lashley's that guy. Shit, here we go, right? Because Swerve's former world champion, all these accomplishments. He was the guy this year.
And then he beat up Prince Nana. You throw him in, you crush that guy too.
That was a heartbreaker.
And then you get Shelton Benjamin MVP. We hurt people. That's it. Simple as that. We won. And I think it was good.
Thumbs up from me.
Yeah.
All around. Like this was the easiest thing to do on the show, I thought, going in, and they did it.
Yeah.
Did I want a little more of the Brock Cena-ish kind of match? Maybe, but I thought they nailed it because I think there's something about making Swerve still look strong in defeat, especially after the Hangman loss.
Sure.
So I don't mind this. And I just think Swerve's so good that it's going to be a fun journey to see him now try to overcome these guys, right? That's kind of what this was setting up. I can't believe Bobby Lashley's like 46, 47 years old. That is my final thing.
Yeah. The guy is upper 40s.
48. Sorry. I was
48. God damn. I thought Bobby Lashley looked really good here. I agree. I thought Swerve looked good.
He took the DDT on the apron where he just
And then
ate it.
his selling.
Yeah.
This guy has wrestled in MMA and took actual hits because that was a great sale job. The diving foot stomp through the table. I thought that was a great spot for Swerve. Yeah, it was good. And then it was
like the spear through the barricade to just be like, oh shit, it's over. You know?
Yes. And then throwing him in, and a good domination thing. Exactly what you need to do for Bobby. I agree.
Could not have been before that main event.
Yes. I don't think Swerve comes off bad in defeat here. I think so. It did work on that level.
Right.
And it was a dominating thing. I would have liked it personally for be a little bit more dominant.
Sure.
But that's fine. That's okay.
Instead of 60-40, more 70-30.
Yeah. And that's fine. But I'm still going to accept the 60-40.
Yeah.
And I'm still happy with it. And I'm still excited to see what we do with the Hurt Syndicate moving forward. Yeah. And Swerve, I guess.
It was a good match. I no complaints, truthfully. Like, yes, there's nitpicks, but that's how this works. Really just strong. And I think I don't know. I want Bobby and Shelton to win the tag belts. Because I don't know like where they're supposed to go in the long run. So I feel like just dominating the tag division would be a lot of fun for them. But that's just they're not going anywhere. They're going to be fighting Swerve still, and Swerve's going to have to get help, which will be interesting.
My immediate guess is that we're going to put Shelton probably in the C2.
I like that.
I feel like that makes sense.
That makes a lot. You keep Bobby out, obviously.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
You keep Bobby out, you keep Swerve out. We're keeping a lot of people out, though. That's the problem.
I like but I like the idea of Swerve selling this a little bit and not being in the C2.
Not being, stuff. I agree.
I
wouldn't mind if they said he was supposed to be in it, but after the beatdown from Bobby Lashley, he had to pull out. Like, they should say that tonight. Just a little thing. It's the little things that I'm looking for that will help.
Yeah. So we always have a replacement at the ready. So this year's replacement of Swerve is going to be, I don't know, name a person.
So though I wouldn't be shocked if they did that with Will. So like, there's a weird, there's multiple people that they could be like, well, they died on the show. So
that's true.
we had to take it. So it'll be interesting. I feel like they have to do it for one person just based on how the show went. But
yes. We'll see. We'll see. A lot of heel beatdown. A lot of heel wins.
There's a lot of heel. A lot of heel in this show. When Bobby won, I was like, so what is he supposed to do? Like, go for the one babyface champion, Daniel Garcia? Like, no, they're not going to do that. So it's like, there's a way too much heel.
In a way, that's why the C2 is coming at a good time, because it's like, all right, let's create some baby faces now.
Yeah, you should make a baby face through this.
You got a month and a half to kill here, so let's grow some folks real quick. AEW International Title match: Konosuke Takeshita defeats Ricochet. I thought this match was really good. Pretty good. I would say pretty good. I would expect more from Takeshita here. Ricochet, I thought, was typical of what his output has been in, I guess, both in WWE earlier this year and AEW so far this year. Takeshita sort of didn't pull it out. I thought the intensity was there. The speed was lacking. And I think that is a good emblematic thing of Ricochet, is that he's a great technical, high flyer. He's a great, he can be intense in these sort of moments, but his speed is all gone, and he is a shell of his former self, Scotty. I've teed you up. I have, and you're contemplating where to start. I can see it.
I know. There's a guy here that said he wanted to prove this weekend that he could be the guy to carry a company, and I couldn't disagree more with that idea. After this, I messaged you midway through this match. I'm done with Ricochet. I'm out. Done. This guy lacks explosiveness, lacks speed for the offense that he does. Yes. For the moves and the ways he wrestles, he needs to be more explosive, more faster, more exciting. It's not there. It's just not there. And listen, that's fine.
He's 36. I get it. The knees are probably hurting.
Sure, that's fine. I understand. We get older. People get older, right? You've been in WWE for so long, so you didn't have to do that anymore. But you talk a lot, and nothing about you does anything for me. I watch this guy. I'm like, it's like watching him in slow motion. This is not enjoyable for me.
Floaty.
This was my least favorite Takeshita pay-per-view match of the year. And let me tell you, that Jon Moxley one where Jon Moxley had like a broken arm still angers me. But at least like that had good. I'm watching this match and I'm like, what is happening? Like, why is it this way?
Yeah.
And it's because of Ricochet. It's because of Ricochet, plain and simple. He's a mid-card guy. He's nothing higher than that. He should be in a tag team, not a singles guy. And that's where he is in his career. I'm sorry. That is how I feel about him. I did not love this match because it just lacked the excitement that Ricochet tries to set you up for in the way he talks, the way he does his interviews, the way he believes in himself.
I want to agree with him. You know, I want to be like, yes, let's go.
I do, but like, gone are the days of him in Dragon Gate. Gone are the days of him in PWG. This is him. This is it. There's nothing that's coming back all of a sudden.
Is that on us for being like the WWE Russ?
No, it's on him. He talks about it like he's that guy.
Good point.
You gotta back it up if you're gonna talk like that. And I saw it in that Will match. When they had that match, I was like, looks kind of slow. And then the three-way, like, oh, okay. You know, obviously he's working with two great parts here, but he looked good in the match. Let's see it in the singles. Like, it looks like he's blown up. He's not blown up at all because he keeps going.
Yeah.
But like, it's unfortunate.
It feels like he's playing it safe.
Yeah, for sure.
Like he's not getting into the next. He's not going full gear. You know what I mean?
Ha, nice.
Thank you.
He just feels like he's lacking. In a way, it feels like he's lacking confidence, but the way he talks, he's not. Like he believes in himself, and which he should.
Yeah.
But when he's doing like he looks
in frustration. Frustration on your face.
Like he looks like a slow gymnast when he's doing his wrestling right now. And I don't like to say that. I know he's a former gymnast, so like, good for you. But like, you can't watch Will and Kyle do what they do, right?
Yeah.
Like an hour before this, and then watch this, because ultimately it's kind of the same dynamic, right? Big power guy that's explosive against some smaller, supposed to be high flying, explosive guy.
Yeah.
No. It's just. Sorry, Ricochet.
That's also a good point. Doing this after Ospreay and Fletcher, which feels like an apt comparison.
The booking of the card, not the smartest in a row. Too many singles matches in a row. Too many of the exact type of singles match and singles trope in a row. But that's not the I'm out on Ricochet. Put Takeshi in the C2. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's all fair, honestly. I think that is fair stuff of Ricochet. Is that and it's not Takeshita, right? It's not Ospreay. It is Ricochet. Yeah. And I think putting him in a tag team, Ted, that the triple threat, Ospreay, I'm just gonna say that's a different animal. You know, singles match of Ospreay, a little slow, but like still pretty good. But also it's Ospreay. You know, I'm gonna put that out of the way. Triple threat.
I believe Ospreay could get a very good match at a Big Boom AJ. So
yeah, I agree. I fully agree with that. I think he get a great match with the Rizzler for all we know.
Well, now you're cooking.
Now we're cooking. But Ricochet in the three-way is that in a lot of ways he was able to hide a little bit. So if those are your circumstances, if those are the situations you're dealt with, tag team.
You have a great hot tag.
Yes, a tag team. You have a great hot tag ready. Yeah. The tag team division is looking for guys like this.
Yeah.
And look,
put him with Speedball.
Put him with Speedball would be nice. Someone fast like that. Leo Rush as well. Someone fast. But also look at the situation we have in front of us. Hobbs has come back, and Hobbs has come back via Ricochet.
However, Hobbs has looked like an absolute menace. I do not want him in another tag team, but if that's the direction they have to go for now, I can accept it for now.
It's a way to younger guy with an older guy. It's different styles. It might work.
Yeah.
I get it, but I get where you're coming from. I would like a singles Hobbs as well. But look, this
Dude
is something.
amazing.
This is something.
Yeah, it's something. Here's the problem. I don't think they're going to push Hobbs as a singles guy right now.
Yeah.
So if that has to be it, fine. I would just like.
You know what it could be? Just have the Hurt Syndicate go up and destroy Private Party, win those titles immediately, and you can build up Ricochet and Hobbs as future challengers.
That'd be a fun match.
Because you already have established Hurt Syndicate, Ricochet having this weird beef.
Shut up and take my money.
Yeah,
throw my money at Hobbs and Bobby going face to face. Take my money.
Yeah, just do that like that, and that feels like there's a good chance that is the direction they're going to go in.
You know what's the problem for Ricochet?
What's that? There could be many things, but go on.
Shelton Benjamin's 49 and looks more explosive than him in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah, how old is Roddy? 41.
Yeah, like this is the problem, Yeah. They all look more explosive, more, and part of it is he has to change his style, and he's trying to with his new finishers, right? But like, I don't know. I don't watch Ricochet and think, oh, he should win with a strike.
He should win with a power move, a Falcon Arrow-esque type.
Yeah. I'm done with him. There's other ways to go with him. I'm done with him as a singles guy. I'll give him. If he goes into trios or tag, there could be something here.
He's got a runway.
He's not the guy he wants himself to be.
Mm-hmm. I think I agree with you. I think that's a fair point.
And how dare you take away Samantha Irvin? That's the gimmick, right? Okay, continue.
Yeah, that's the grift gimmick.
That's the reason people actually don't like him.
Yeah.
I don't like him because he isn't as good as he wants to be, which is it's part of the way
that's
wrestling work. Yeah. Now, if this was the match, he had to prove it, and. So I'm gonna miss.
A lot of makes and breaks on this pay-per-view. We'll get to more.
Yeah, well, we're on pay-per-view 7, 8 of reset. Where I saw another one person say, "Oh, this pay-per-view is kind of a reset." I was like, "No,
every pay-per-view is
reset again."
Every pay-per-view is a reset because everyone wants something different. Oh, next up, going up the card, or I guess down the card, AEW TNT title match. Daniel Garcia defeats Jack Perry. Look. I like Daniel Garcia winning the TNT title. I thought this match had great, technical wrestling. I thought, again, the storytelling of the babyface working underneath. It wasn't gonna. I don't think it fully worked, but I like the idea from a starting point here. I guess knowing that the rest of the card is going to be like that, but the crowd was not into this. This guy abducted a man and tortured him, and we started with a lockup. The crowd was dead. And look, very simply, if you want to tell the story of Perry being almost a better technical wrestler, a more cheaty kind of guy or whatever, let's say, and Garcia is working from underneath babyface, like he obviously wants to work but you're about to win a championship. I wouldn't necessarily say you should do that though, Garcia. But if you want to work that underneath babyface style, I'm gonna need more of yourself getting something so that the crowd can hook to that and be hopeful. I don't feel like the crowd was ever hopeful for Garcia in this match up until the very end and when he won the title. And if you just gave more of that to start with, you could have gotten more from the crowd at the end. And you didn't put that investment in, and you got what you got at the end, which was a good pop. People liked it. People wanted to see this, but I don't think anyone ever expected this to happen. So I think that was a failure of the storytelling of the match and maybe the going into the match itself. But the match itself, like I said, good technically a good match, right? But just the crowd wasn't into it. I wasn't fully into it. There was no speed. Yeah. There's little intensity.
There was nothing.
It was lacking in all parts.
It's a scapegoat match. It's a failure. That's how I walked away from this. All of this did nothing for Jack Perry in the end.
Agreed. I agree.
In his losing moment, no one cared. Unfortunately. And listen, I'm someone that was really behind the idea of the scapegoat and everything with it. But I said it last week or the week before. I think I'm done. I think I give up. And then I watched this match. I was like, there's just nothing. There's just nothing here. I've seen Jack Perry have good matches in his career, but his heel work isn't engaging.
Yeah.
Right? It's not engaging for the crowd. And I also hate the hit me, I'm the Messiah thing. You know, like I hate that. I don't like it. And that's what he does every time. Happy for Danny, though. I will say that. He should have some great matches along the way as champion. This is long overdue.
Agreed.
No, it's funny. You know, this was a weird thing I felt when the match happened. I was like, this was long overdue, but at the same time, I feel like this was not built up enough because of the way everything just happened.
Yes.
Right where he disappeared for a while. I'm back. And then he just kind of wins it. And I was like,
but
okay.
Because I also like look in the picture of this overall story of the company right now, Mox and Orange, right? Going back to that idea. He came back and he was always, or the pre-match video, right, for Danny Garcia. He comes back and he's presented as a guy that just wants to help other people and wants to help build up other people and be someone that's there for everybody else. And the promo is his mother, I guess, saying, well, that's nice and all, and I'm glad we raised you that way, and I'm glad you're doing that. But sometimes you just got to go for yourself. And I'm not going to say that he went for a selfish means of going after a title, but he got after a title. Private Party got after a title, and we're all happy for them. But there wasn't the story that was being built up.
Right.
Like all of a sudden, we get like a last-minute pivot that feels
Private
like
Party felt rushed in a way too when they did that. So.
Like the Jack Perry stuff felt like I'm beating up a Jack Perry because I'm mad at the Elite because they aren't helping with the mock stuff, and he is sort of like trying to right that wrong. And instead of righting the wrong, we do a last-minute pivot of you should maybe stop helping people and just go for what will make you happy and winning the title. And it's like, whoa, hold on, whoa, that doesn't work. That doesn't work for me, brother. That wasn't. Am I crazy to say that this was also the worst match on the card, on the main card?
On the main, no, this was the worst match. You know, that's funny. I spent this match. So I was at my friend's house, and they were like, one of my friends who doesn't really watch wrestling, but he came to see the Big Boom AJ, of course. But he asked, how many wrestlers could you name? And like he just kept naming a number, right? He'd be like 75, and then me and my friend would be like, yeah, I can name 75. Yeah. He just keep going up. We got to 230. And my friend, it was like whoever says I can't do that, the other person had to then name over 230.
Yes.
So I was like, yeah, I could do that. 231, no big deal. That's how I spent this match. But my point was,
that's impressive, by the way. That's very impressive.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is, I made sure it was all people they knew.
Yeah,
so I didn't name a Joshi wrestler. I didn't name Puro guys.
Yeah.
So let's just say, you know who I ended this with? This is the point of the joke. I ended it with Tyson Tomko.
Fucking Tomko. Just pull it out of your ass just for the laughs. It's
funny.
Goose.
I was sitting there. I was like, I don't like Max Caster, so I'm not gonna put him. I started to like name people. I started naming people I don't like. I was like, I don't want to. I don't want to do that one. He doesn't deserve it.
Too easy.
Yeah, too easy. It was funny because my friend, when I was over, he's like, "You just didn't do Andre the Giant." I was like, "That's true. I did it." He's like, "But you did Tyson Tomko." I was like, "You're damn right."
Yeah,
I didn't do Hulk Hogan till like 200 because I forgot he existed, which is great.
I'm looking at my ratings thing, and on my ratings, I have like a full tally of how many wrestlers I have watched / rated, basically rated. 2,967. I don't think I can name all near 3,000 there, but I mean, easily who'd be like 230 on this list. Let's see. My rankings this year, who would be 230? Matt Riddle. So like I think I can name everyone above Matt Riddle.
Yeah. It was a fun game though. And I was like, could have kept going higher. But yeah, that was how I spent this match. It was so boring.
Yeah. What's also interesting is that we're recording this before we started recording this, Cage Match didn't have the times up. I wonder if that's a new way for them to like try to stop shitty ratings basically on Cage Match. But they didn't have the times up for any of the matches. So because you have the times up, you can't rate anything. Since then, they have added the times, and we're starting to get the early reviews in on Cage Match. I'm refreshing every once in a while, and we get more so reviews. Weakest match on the card so far is not this one. It's in fact the 4-way opener. And even then, early ratings are saying that the MJF Project Strong is also worse than this. And I don't know. It's all early reviews. It's going to go down as time goes on. So I'm interested to see with that. Right now, they're saying that the best match is actually the next match we're going to talk about, which is Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay. Obviously, Kyle Fletcher gets the win here, beats Will Ospreay. I thought this match was great. It has obviously everything, all the shite I want in my wrestling. Speed, heat. The crowd was super into this match, right?
They were into 2 matches on this entire show.
This one and
the 2 highest rated matches on Cage Match they were into.
Yeah. This and
there was a legitimate realization midway through that women's match that this is going to be the epic women's match.
Mm-hmm.
And you could just see it in the crowd. They're like, "Oh shit, here we go!"
Yeah,
like you can just feel that as the build up. This match obviously started hot early, and I think, like, honestly, I think there was a trick to Ospreay's theme song that gets people into the match because it's crowd participation. That's how you get the people into things. And then that long. You can't play that long. But yeah, that like.
Go ahead.
Actually, sorry, that was the most over match of the night.
But this match had speed, had heat,
had everything
had intensity,
you want.
Great wrestling. You got to pile drivers onto the steps. You didn't have any Don Callis real shenanigans. You had a nice clean finish. I thought that
was shocking.
Yeah. Well, for Will Ospreay, I'm not going to say fully shocking, but we're having.
Well, I feel like we always have the Callis part. I meant. Sorry.
Yes. Oh, I see what you're saying. I was going to say Will Ospreay has the sort of early AEW syndrome where he's a big star and losing too much. But whatever. Yeah, I thought this match was legitimately really great. Obviously, easily my favorite match of the night. I thought Kyle Fletcher looked great, obviously, in his win. I'm excited to see where he goes move forward. Will Ospreay comes in, hurt, comes out, probably hurt. So we'll see what Will Ospreay does forward. I really like this match. I thought, like I said, everything about it, I checked all the boxes for me. Scotty, what did you think of this match?
It's terrible. No, I'm just kidding.
Worst match of the show.
This was probably the most complete Kyle Fletcher performance I've ever seen, which I think is the most important part of this match, right? They're trying to establish him as a guy, and to do that, you have to stand out on your own. Yes, Will is going to lead you through a match. But I think I always saw the potential in Fletcher. I know some people don't like him, some people, whatever. I always saw the potential, but it was about putting it together.
Yeah.
And I think his singles matches for me always lacked that. One, because it always felt like the finish of them were like lackluster or whatever. This was anything but that. The finish was emphatic. The finish was, it was one of those moments where you're like, okay, he essentially destroyed Will. Again, a problem with this entire card. We had that 3 times. That idea 5, 7, 75, 85. And I think the importance for this and Fletcher was indeed winning clean. You make him a guy by him beating Ospreay clean. Had Callis been involved, yes, it would have been nice to give him a win, but it doesn't get him to where ultimately he is now.
Yeah.
Right? From the beginning of the show to the end of the show, who rose the most in, say, standings or whatever you want, the rankings.
Whose stock rose, right?
Right. Like his stock went up tremendously because he put on a full performance. He showcased the potential that they see in him.
Mhm.
I still think he needs to do something with his hair because it's very boring. The
You
buzz
mean
cut.
the lack of?
Yeah, like that's the one part of his look I'm not with yet. Everything
Right.
else, it's great. Great new like presentation. I was like, the shaved head. No, just random little antidote. Yeah, no, this was a great match. That accomplished everything they set out to do, and ultimately in the end put Kyle Fletcher on a pedestal for the future. You and me have talked about multiple times on the show, what is AEW's future? Who are their future competitors? And I kept refraining from putting him in because I needed this performance. Now it's locked in. Like he is probably their top prospect they're going to build behind. And I think that's apparent. It goes beyond the 5-star match. It goes beyond the match quality for me when it comes to the future star. He is starting to check off the boxes, and you could see he's very confident now. I think that was always what he lacked, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Is that visible confidence? Sure, he's probably confident in himself the way he wrestles like that. But now there is a visible confidence about him, and I think Will did everything in his power to do that for him. I wouldn't have Will lose much more right now. That, though, being, Will's in a very interesting spot because it feels like he is just filled in for Bryan Danielson all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Which is weird. This loss is good, but I would have him start, getting wins back soon, because I ultimately in the end I think he does beat Fletcher, but Fletcher needed the first match win.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I'll add this little tidbit that it was said right at the start of the match, and it was a good thing to say, and then goes throughout the rest of it. Kyle Fletcher is 25 years old. You're talking about setting up the future. This guy won't go on the Observer Hall of Fame ballot for another decade, Scotty.
Mm-hmm.
That is how young this guy is and how great he is. Will Ospreay is 31. 6 years ago, he was 25 years old. So in 2018, Will Ospreay was the same age as Kyle Fletcher is now. And I would argue why I've been so high on Kyle Fletcher, and why I think it's very obvious this company is super high on him and wants to build the future around him. I would argue that Kyle Fletcher is way better than Ospreay was in 2018 today. Kyle Fletcher is so better than Ospreay here now than Will Ospreay was in 2018. Will Ospreay was great in 2018, but he doesn't have the arguably one of the best wrestlers in the world until like 2019, until the next year. These are the last couple of years of his junior run. Still a great wrestler. Maybe on even footing, but Kyle Fletcher, there's something about him that just feels, you can feel the future coming. And I think you felt that with Will Ospreay at that time. You definitely felt that with Will Ospreay. But in a lot of ways, this win feels like this isn't the future is coming. It feels like the future is now with Kyle Fletcher's win here, and a decisive win nonetheless. So I've always been high on Kyle Fletcher. I like it a lot. 25-year-old guy. I'm so excited to see the moving forward path for this kid, because
Ospreay was okay. You say 2018 Ospreay was 25?
Yeah, he's 31 now. Minus 6 is 25.
I mean, he was having matches rated over 9 in 2017.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that he was also a great wrestler. I'm saying you can maybe make the argument that he
wasn't on the big stage yet.
Yes.
He was in New Japan, which obviously was a big stage. But I think that's my hesitation with Fletcher, actually.
My point there is that you can argue that he's better than Ospreay.
Sure. My hesitation with Fletcher is that he may be here too early. We will see.
That could be true. That could
be
true.
There is a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
Because a good part of the Ospreay, and speaking of like too early, is that Ospreay in 2018 was a junior, right?
Yes.
And it wasn't until the 2019 where he's still a junior, and then he steps up into the heavyweight, into the heavyweight division. And then throughout the pandemic and everything, 2022, 2023, he's stepping up more heavyweight, easily the best wrestler in the world. This is Kyle Fletcher has never been a junior, and so we're starting at this point, and so there's no real like room to grow, if that makes sense. Both
Sure.
like literally physically and moving up the rankings, moving into a better division that like Ospreay did from 2018 into 2024 in his next 6 years. Kyle Fletcher is already starting as a great heavyweight, and now he has to be this same level of quality of output for the next several decades for his life. Totally plausible, totally possible.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that he if you're to speak on you saying that this might be too early, I think that's playing a part of it.
He's going to have a tougher road than Ospreay did because of where he is.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Some people may say the fact that he's in AEW is a better thing for him, but this is the conversation that we've had about the youth of pro wrestling recently, right? It's a matter of the good thing is he has done the Japan stuff. He has been an international guy, so I think that experience brings him a long way.
Yeah.
And the important part, I think the most important part of this match for AEW is that they have a young star that they are going to build around for years to come. At least, again, you hope that. We've seen Daniel Garcia step into this light against a Bryan Danielson and then get slotted back down after a long time.
A great point.
That was the first thing I thought of when this match was over. I was like, this feels like his Garcia versus Danielson in the House of the Dragon match. I just remember it was that show.
Yes.
And I remember that match. I walked away from it like that was unbelievable. He's gonna go high, and then he just won the TNT title, right? Yeah. So it's like,
and it could be that we could have that situation.
It could be that, or they keep going with him. And that is what you hope for, right? That is what you hope for. But at the same time, we just talked about how many people that need to do how many things. It is a very difficult situation, but it's one that is going to be fun to follow because you walk away from this match and you see the possibilities, and hopefully they ride with it. But at the same time, we could say all this about Kyle Fletcher. They have a guy that he just beat in the ring that has not accomplished all that much in AEW yet. Yeah. So like they got to go with him first.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a balancing act, one that AEW has not proven to be able to do yet. So that'll be the fun part.
But you know what this also can be? Even if Kyle Fletcher doesn't really go anywhere immediately, this will be a great match to look back on if and when, I hope when, Will Ospreay wins the AEW World title.
Sure.
And Kyle Fletcher challenges for it.
Yes, I agree. It'll be interesting to see what his next big win is.
Agreed.
And when is it?
It feels like
it's that next.
I feel like TNT title.
You would think so, based on who just won that.
And it's not world title. It's not international title.
Right. It's just a matter of how long.
Yeah. Continental. It's on a heel as well. So.
How do they follow up the Will Ospreay feud for Kyle Fletcher? We will see. But that's the fun part of this. I walk away from the match. Fantastic match.
Yep.
One of the two I really, really liked from this show. Yeah, there's a lot to like. And I also think the last thing with Fletcher, I think he has found his like finishing sequence finally.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. We'll see. You can only tombstone so many people onto a steel steps. But I like the brain buster onto the turnbuckle. I think that's a great spot. You can't do it with everyone. I did my one critique. If I get to have one critique, is when he hits the that like nasty like drop pile driver thing. And Excalibur's in the middle saying, he calls that and he kicks out. Like I was like,
yeah,
we were just trying to introduce a new move, and he already kicked out.
Excalibur, man. Is this where we had the conversation?
Roddery? Roddery Strong?
Okay. I have been very outspoken for my disdain towards Taz on commentary this year. It's been a running theme of I've gotten more into focusing on quality of commentary, and I was super into super not into Taz. And I even said that like he drags Excalibur down, right? That was a quote I also had.
He's not here anymore.
He's not here anymore, and I don't necessarily. I'm not necessarily going to say that Excalibur is bad. I don't think he's bad, but I don't think he's good. And you brought this up, and I know you're going to have a tangent to say about Excalibur, but you argued that he might be the worst major league play-by-play commentator. And I don't necessarily
right now, not all time.
And yes, thank you. And I don't necessarily think that makes him I don't necessarily saying that he's a bad commentator, but I think I agree that he might be the worst play-by-play commentator today.
I think it's fair. I thought about it.
Of course you think it's fair. That's what you said. That's what you said to me.
What are you gonna do? Yeah, I've no. So you're the bastard here. This is your fault because you made me start paying attention to.
I am not wearing my gear and soaking wet, sir.
That was, by the way, the best part of all the post-match segment. This guy is dressed in his gear. Anyways, this is your fault because I've done a good job of my life not to really focus too much on commentary unless that dummy Matt Striker's on it. Then I have no choice but to complain.
He's the worst play-by-play commentator.
He's the worst play-by-play, color commentator, everything.
But I don't think he's commentating right now because he's not working MLW. So I don't know what he's doing.
He's terrible. So
Joe Galley from NWA is also not great, but again, not major league.
NWA major.
Yeah.
I don't consider the major league promotion major league either, but
yeah.
I digress. Shout out to Taz.
Sorry, we have a bunch of tangents. You were saying
Mask Man Jones over here. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, Excalibur. I just think like, and maybe like he has too much going on. But like I'll listen to. Here's his problem. Okay, I'll just say it. I listened to Tony and Nigel on Collision. They're just a better team. I listened to Ian and Caprice. They're obviously a better team.
A great team.
When you are getting outworked by people in your company, yet you are the head guy, you start to notice a little bit more. And he makes a lot of mistakes now. I don't know what it is. I just don't think he doesn't get me into matches the way that like AJR once upon a time does. Hell, I think Michael Cole is actually pretty good at it. Agreed. Now that he doesn't have Vince in his ear, especially.
I think Tony Schiavone gets me into matches.
I think so too. Well, again, these are old school guys, right? Yeah. All three of those guys have been around forever.
Ian Riccaboni definitely gets me in matches,
Ian Riccaboni, he is one of a kind these days, right? We don't have enough Ian Riccaboni. But I listened to Excalibur and I just like sometimes I don't think he captures the moment of a match as well as you want a play-by-play commentator to do.
Yeah.
And I think right now, I would take all the other top play-by-play guys. Hell, I'm taking the guy that does Raw, the actual like professional Tessitore, over him because that guy like is convincing and he's into it.
Yeah.
1 second, my dog's yelling at me. He hates Excalibur too.
I'm not super into the meta stuff with Excalibur either. The sort of thing of like, there's a Nigel McGuinness makes a joke. Excalibur lets the pause hang in the air and then does a goofy little side comment. Get back to the match. Ignore, or dunk on Nigel McGuinness. Instead, he like sort of wants to join in on the jokes and stuff. And and I think what this all comes down to is I don't think Excalibur was bad when JR was at the lead guy. People can dunk on JR all they want, and I understand it completely. But I think JR was a better play-by-play guy still than Excalibur. And that's obvious, especially in his prime, obviously. But I don't think Excalibur. I think Excalibur works better as like the sort of Mike Tenay in WCW role than being the lead commentator.
Adding the factoids rather
Yeah,
than.
and I think what's frustrating as well is that, and maybe this is the Taz element of it all. I don't think he has grown at all in being since becoming the play-by-play commentator.
What's the
AEW.
most notable call in AEW's history on commentary?
Probably Mox's arrival, but I can't name you the quote.
Wasn't that JR?
Yeah.
There you go. Like, that's my point. That's my point. I couldn't think of one from Excalibur.
I can't legitimately think of. I can think of ones that sort of annoyed me. But I can't. But again, JR's a Hall of Fame caller, right? I can't name you like a specific great call that Ian Riccaboni has had, right? But
but I can say a match that he's called great.
Yeah, that's true.
Like Dean and Willow, he called tremendously.
Yeah.
Right. Just in recent times, the Briscoes and FTR, he's unbelievable in those matches, right?
Yeah.
So that's the difference. I can name matches for him. I can't name a match that Excalibur elevated.
Yeah, I don't think he's
commentary's there to help, but sometimes you can elevate.
I don't think he's elevating the matches. I think Nigel's thing is that he's not elevating the matches really either. He's doing heel shtick. Tony is just there being Tony. Taz, I think, was a detriment. I don't think there's. I think honestly, look, and this is going to be my big old grand take for you, Scotty. I think the only guy that comes out there that still wants to elevate the fucking match is JR. I know JR is a big old grump when it comes to shit sometimes, and he gets too focused on how much he loves trucks in Oklahoma. I get it. But there are times when JR still decides to elevate what is happening in the ring.
I agree.
And it's frustrating because no one else seems to want to do it other than
Ian Riccaboni and Caprice.
The Bone Zone himself, Ian Riccaboni. And Caprice. A Hall of Fame commentary team. The fucking Mike Tenay and Don West of commentary. A great booth. Anyways, we have comments, we have more show. We're already an hour in. Connor Houston says this is about Kyle Fletcher. Also, depending on contract situation, you have the WWE prowling around. They could suddenly have interest. Does Kyle Fletcher have a contract situation? Not that I
think he just means in the
generally
run.
Yeah.
You just never know where someone's going to be, right?
Yeah. You have Kyle Fletcher a WWE ID deal.
You know what was another problem I had watching the show?
What's that?
I just thought to myself, like, if I'm Tony Khan, right? You're just kicking yourself that Cody Rhodes isn't here. Because I am. I'm watching like, Orange Cassidy defend AEW. I'm like, who would have been pretty good in that role?
Just imagine if Cody was still here during all the Punk stuff. You know what I mean? And still around, still kicking.
He was here for Punk a little. That was about it.
A month or two.
They're both not here.
Yeah.
They're both thriving.
Because if Punk was gone, you still get Cody, Right.
I think Cody was severely underappreciated in this company. By the fans, by the company.
And I think time is telling that. Time is telling that
story. Oh, you think so? WWE's red hot because of him.
Yeah. Matthew Rodriguez, he said hello as well, but he also has the question, and this is, I think, what happened in the show. How are we today? What happens with Mina and Mariah next? So, of course, in the show as well, I think this is where it generally happened.
I don't remember when it happened.
Exactly. But you get the championship.
I remember it happening at a certain point where there was still so many matches left. I was like, "Fuck!"
Oh, it was after Fletcher and Ospreay. That's what it was.
Okay.
Because it was such it was such a cool down for me. But so we had the championship celebration for Mariah May. Mina Shirakawa is out there celebrating with her. Mariah is being herself, getting no heel heat whatsoever. Mina has incredible live show charisma. The crowd's into her. Then they go to celebrate. Mariah tries to attack Mina. Mina realizes the attack was coming. stops it, and then attacks her, throws her through a table, and then sort of has a bloody mouth. Feels like they're trying to replicate the bloody mouth in Stardom, but I don't know if that was a shoot or kayfabe, blood pack thing here. But
I don't know
the
what they're
image
trying.
is like the mouth being bloody from Mina is like
Yeah, I know
a
what
similar
happened
image.
there.
So
It
it's
ain't
like
gonna work the same.
it's also like it didn't.
Doesn't make sense at all in the same way either.
Yeah, but it felt like there was that image that was meant. I don't know, but either way, you got the official split of Mina and Mariah. What's happening if next? Well, obviously they're gonna wrestle. Uh,
Oh,
so
really?
it's going to be World's End. Maybe winter is coming, but probably World's End. I don't know. But what do you think of this segment? What do you think about the rivalry moving forward?
If Mercedes and Chris Statlander didn't happen earlier in the show, I was going to have a point to make on this show that the women's division that has been saved this year has somehow taken 3 steps back over the past couple months. You can blame a champion for whatever, but they have not helped Mariah at all. This is what they led up to for 3 months. This has been her title reign. I need Mina here so we can do our celebration. Just to do this. Just to do this. Not for Tony Storm to come back, but to do this. Listen, we all knew Mina.
To turn on her. I need to do the celebration so that I can turn on Mina. You could have turned on Mina at any fucking point.
Exactly. Yeah, it just it's frustrating for you don't have to like Mariah May. You can like Mariah May, whatever. Doesn't really matter to me. But what I have to say is they have not helped her as a champion. And all of her title matches are against Anna Jay on Collision. Anyways, that's to me that's not helping either. And the one rushed Willow one, which don't get me started. Nothing has made sense in her reign, so why make sense now? Mina's very over, so this is her chance to pick it up, and then Tony comes back, right? That's obviously where we're going. To set up for that Australia show. So whatever. I'm defeated at some points, I know. I've had so many complaints on this one show. At an eventual point, I was like,
well, let's move it along then.
They'll have a good match. I know that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Happy for Mina being so over.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I mentioned this.
Months.
I know.
I can't let it go.
And I know we have a show to do and we have more matches to talk about, and I keep ruminating on things. But previously I talked about how stories are pitched and by whom, right? And the conversation of AEW's big thing is that we have creative freedom, right?
Yeah,
and all these sort of things. But Tony Khan has the ultimate say. We also have a writer's room and all these sort of things. Mercedes has creative freedom, but she also needs a writer in the room. These sort of things.
Yeah.
So who has all this stuff, right? And I think a frustrating thing about it is that weirdly frustrating thing about AEW. This is a weird thing to say. Is I like that the wrestlers have creative freedom, but I don't like how Tony Khan fully allows them to live out their creative freedom and doesn't rein them in any capacity. It doesn't feel like Tony Khan reins it in. Because if I'm the booker and I'm looking at the Mariah May stuff and seeing that she isn't over the buildings, she's not getting cheered and booed or anything. Any normal booker in any time in history would immediately take the belt off her and put it onto somebody else, right? Right? She's not over. We got to put the title on somebody else. But we both know, same thing. You can go back to the MJF, Adam Cole. You can go back to any other stuff. We both know that this storyline is going to continue till at least the show in Australia. What was that, February?
Mhm.
So we both know that this is continuing, and we're going to see more of this for another 3 months.
Mhm.
And both of us are like, this isn't working. It hasn't been working for a while. And there's a new element here. We have a new rivalry story change, right? And that's fun, but like it's one match, maybe, probably.
There's a bad mix right now where it's a mix of she's not super over
Mhm.
and they're not giving her enough to try and get over,
Yeah.
if that makes sense, right? There's nothing helping her or aiding her right now either. And I
Yep.
guess the hope now is that the Mina story does that, but we are 3 months into this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I don't. Yeah, we're 3 months into this, and we have 3 months to go at least. And I want the wrestlers to tell their stories, but it is this thing of
I
like, at
I
what
still
point do
think
you tell them to
Mariah should have
stop?
been the babyface
Yeah,
out of the
probably.
Tony Storm thing, but
Hmm.
what do I know? It's working so well. Like, I mean, we go into these. Here's the thing: we go into these pay-per-views. She's not having world title matches. She's not having big matches.
They are. Feels like they're actively hiding her in a lot of ways.
She's not their world champion. Their world champion just holds a different belt,
Hmm.
and it's been that way since she won the title, not since Mariah won the title. To be fair,
Exactly.
so who has been the featured talent, and understandably so. But at the same time, why not just give her the world title?
Hmm.
Fix a lot of problems. If we switch things right now, right? And if Mercedes Moné was your world champion and Mariah May was your TBS champion, fixed. Done.
Yeah, I think
It's fine.
I wouldn't say necessarily fully fixed, but I definitely feel like
No,
the
but
vibes are more
yeah,
aligned.
Mariah May versus Anna Jay on TV works,
Yeah.
right? That's fine
Well,
feud for your TV
it
show.
wouldn't work on Collision because that's on TNT. Yes. It's a frustration. It's this weird transition stage that we just seem locked in for a long
Remember
time.
Athena? Me too.
Showed up on the pay-per-view on the
She did.
buy-in, but she showed
She
up.
did. She did. She's going to the dome, I assume. If she's not,
We'll see.
if
We'll
she's
see, I
not,
guess.
then well, she won't be champion anymore by then. So
Yeah. Let's move on. Jay White, Adam Page. A gun. I think a really good match.
yeah.
I think the crowd was sort of mixed in, but they were into it. It's slow, plotting to me a little bit at times, but the work was really good. I thought Adam Page and Jay White both wrestled really well. And again, you have Jay White defeating Adam Page another time, right? I thought, again, another really good match, but this forwards the thing of Jay White always getting the win, but it also forwards the thing of Adam Page being a big old loser, which I think is fine. I think it's fine. As part of his story right now, I think it's fine. The only big win that Adam Page has gotten, I think, this year is the lights out match against Swerve, and that match didn't count, right? I'm fine with him being a big old loser other than that in terms of the big major matches.
But why? He's a heel.
But he's a self-righteous heel. He's a heel that the crowd's still invested in some ways. His actions are.
I hate it.
But go ahead. Why do you hate it?
Because he's the most interesting character, and they just keep doing the same thing to him. Like when him and Moxley went face to face, I was so into it. Because like this is something. John Moxley went out of his way once upon a time to help Hangman Page come out of the depths that was the CM Punk stuff. Right? They went out of his way. This is a story where there is a connection here, and it was all for Christian fucking Cage.
Well, the story there is that Christian Cage is going to win the title and then give a title match to Adam Page. I got Animals 07 in the chat. We'll see. I want to get your reaction immediately to this. I feel like, by the way, Animals, this will stir up something in Scotty. Animal says, if Page won, the complaint would have been 50-50 booking. Can't win.
I agree to that. But here's my problem. We got to just book him better. Like, I don't care. Here's the thing. I don't care about the 50-50. Yeah, you know what? You're right. because then it would go to a third match, and then whoever wins that, sure. But now he's about to be in a world title match, and he is the ultimate loser. He loses everything.
He shouldn't be in the world title match. It should be like Mox, White, and Cage is the only. And
Like,
it shouldn't just be White, I guess. I don't
agree.
know.
We should not do 50-50 booking. I agree, because that is a problem that all wrestling companies fall into when you do stuff like this.
Yeah. I think it was a bold decision not to do that. Yeah, I agree.
It's always Hangman Page. Why does it always have to be Hangman Page? Why can't it be someone else? You know? Like, what? At a certain point, him losing is not going to mean anything anymore.
Yeah, I think that's the fear they run. He's still getting the wins in terms of like the smaller matches on television. It's those big matches that they're running the risk with.
And like, I like the idea. So him losing to Jay White was fine because like the way they do it, it works really well, right? Jay White just catches him at the end every single time.
Yeah,
it works, and it's boosted Jay up.
Puts over Jay as deadly. You know,
it's just I've watched Hangman lose so much. Why is it always got to be the Hangman? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I don't want to start naming other names, but I wanted Hangman to be the one to kill Bryan Danielson. What has he done since then? Lost. He won a match that didn't count. You're right. Congratulations. And then they followed that with nothing except for losses and losses and losses and losses.
He beat Juice in that tag match.
Yeah, that's great. That was great. Yeah, who doesn't beat Juice, buddy?
Yeah. I get it. And it's frustrating because it's like now you have this match and then you have the main event angle where it's like he's just sort of like a lone wolf sort of thing where he's not helping AEW, he's not helping Mox, he's just trying to like find ways to get back. Here's the thing, right? Here's the story, right? I'm gonna say right 5 more times. The story is that like he is such a loser, but he is still so aggrieved and agitated that he believes he deserves the AEW World Championship, and he's still not over that loss, right? But the problem is that he is such a loser. But because he's a loser in these big matches, and he's distracted or whatever you want to say why he's a loser, because of this, he has to find the heel ways of trying to get the edge. He got the edge by burning a house down, and winning the lights out match, a match that didn't count. An edge he's finding is aligning himself with Christian Cage, helping Christian Cage win the title, and then hopefully beating Christian Cage to win the title. Right? That's that story. So the problem is that he is, whatever you want to describe as why he's a big old loser, the story is that this guy cannot win the big one anymore. He is ice cold in winning the big one anymore unless he does.
Did we not do this with him already? This was his entire babyface arc.
And now they're doing the same arc, but as a heel. It's different. I'm not going to say it's a bad thing. I'm fine with the same arc as a heel. That's still something different. That's a slightly different story. But it is going to be another redemption arc. It's a similar story, but I can see why people are upset about it. I completely get it.
Man, all I saw yesterday was, WWE. AEW doesn't have enough baby faces to fight the Death Riders. Not enough strong baby faces.
Said this in our preview.
And I'm just watching Hangman here. I'm like, oh, he's a heel. Great. You know who'd be a pretty strong baby face to fight for AEW that has done it before? I think a lot of my care for this promotion rides with Hangman Page. Sure. And if they don't care about Hangman Page, why should I care about AEW?
You know who's a great babyface that's lurking around that might be that's healthy enough to wrestle and could come back in this company and help it?
Kenny by God Omega. I know.
But we're the best wrestlers in New Japan, so it's fine.
That's what he said. So what a hilarious show Wrestling Dynasty is.
Let's move on. Mercedes Moné defeats Chris Statlander TBS title match. Scotty, thoughts?
Yeah, this was great. I had a great time. Chris Statlander, good. Mercedes Moné, Mercedes Moné. Listen, you're getting me in a depressed state right now. Should have brought me to bring the boom. I could have been back, but we know we're here. I think Mercedes knows. Mercedes is someone who says, I don't listen to the talk. She knows though. Like she knows what people were saying. Like you need to show up. You need to have, we had a couple wavy roads, and I'm not gonna blame her for the Hikaru Shida matches. I'm not gonna blame her for the Britt Baker match.
Shida's output has not been great. Baker's output has not been great.
Seen Britt Baker in the year 2024?
Hikaru Shida.
Right, like it's not her fault, right? But at the same time, she's still Mercedes Moné. You expect her to lift people up. And I don't think she had to lift Chris Statlander up, but they put on a great match together. I watched this match and I say, man, Chris is so good. We said this 2 months ago when she was a heel and beat Willow. Now we're saying
I'm still saying that. To me, that's still the best women's match of the year, probably, at least in the US.
In the US, I'm not doing this debate again. Anyway, let me go back to the match I'm talking about here. But now, like Mercedes' best 2 AEW matches are against Willow and Chris, which I'd argue those are the 3 best women in the division. Mm-hmm. So, and all 3 of them I think have been great. I thought it's funny. This is a very, very, very deep cut, but when I was watching through my old Joshi, okay, Jaguar Yokota, when she was beating down the leg of when she was beating down the leg of Mimi Hagawara in a random singles match, right? It was essentially her rookie year. She was punching it, kicking it, and she bit the knee. And I'm saying, watching this match, I was like, bite the leg like Jaguar. And my friend's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, just trust me. And then she did it to win the match. And I was like, she's watching the tapes. We're back.
She's sticking up.
She's watching the things that matter because she worked the leg great. And listen, Chris is so good. She's just so good. Like Chris has had arguably the best pay-per-view match of every top women in AEW's history, except for maybe Tony and Jamie. She has probably, I think, the best pay-per-view match for Baker.
Yeah.
Once upon a time. She has the best for Willow.
I'm going to pull up Chris Statlander's match guide and let's see if we can.
And her Mercedes, it's close. I'd probably favor the Willow one. Still. I agree. But my point is, it's in the conversation. Chris is that good. Despite all the surgeries, despite all this, Chris is that good, and they were able to overcome what I thought was a poor build and featured Camille, who, by the way, what a bad signing. Just gets worse by the day. Saw the Renegade twins congratulate Mercedes. I said, oh, we should just replace Camille with those 2. That would be cool.
I do, in a way, I do. This is me in the writer's room. I do like the idea of like Mercedes Moné just starting to like cycle through different heaters.
That'd be funny. Yeah.
Just like, okay, Camille didn't work out. What about instead of Camille, we got 2 of them? we got the Renegade twins,
And in the long run, it's Megan Bates. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
We all got to give up hope on that one.
That's got. She's wrestling in the wrong Hammerstein show. Sorry, Effie.
So you say sorry, Effie?
Yeah. Is that his name? Yeah, that's his name. I don't know what I was pointing. I really enjoyed the match though. Mercedes, I'm happy. Mercedes and Hazuki, I have so much confidence in now because this was her best showing in probably since that Willow match. Just a personal performance. So it seems like she's driven heading into the new year as well. I watched her presser, and she was like doing the whole I don't want to talk to you people, I don't even know who you are. And then someone mentioned the Tokyo Dome and her head shot. She was like, oh, the Tokyo Dome, I will be there. I was like, it's very clear what matters to her. She has the same brain as Kenny Omega, which is very funny. But she at least said this is where the best wrestle, talking about AEW. Kenny Omega does not say that about AEW. So.
Yeah. Okay. I largely kind of agree with what you said. I think I'm definitely lower on this match than you and most people.
Well, that's because you hate women. Continue.
How dare you? I was batting so hard for women in the last episode, and here I am, and I got a low score, and you're like, you hate women. How dare you, sir?
All right there. Home run. Easy for me.
How dare you?
You just put it on a platter. Fastball right down the middle.
How dare you?
See ya.
I'm definitely lower on than most people. I thought Mercedes was fine here. I liked Chris more in this match. I don't think this match was for Willow. Sorry, for Mercedes, it was better than the Willow match or better than the Vaquer match.
I like it better than the Vaquer match because that was sloppy.
I get it. But I didn't quite get into it. I don't know what it was specifically, but I just couldn't quite get into this match. I did like Chris more. And you talk about like elevating others. I think I'm just going to call it and say that like Mercedes is not an elevator. I don't necessarily.
She used to be. That used to be her thing.
I don't think she's an elevator more. That used to be one of her things. And
is she an escalator? I'm so sorry.
I don't think she elevates anyone anymore. I think she needs to be in the ring with great wrestlers to have great matches.
Sure, and I think she's booking herself to do that now. So
good.
I think she knows that.
But I'm definitely I'm definitely weak. I think for me, this wasn't the match Mercedes Moné needed for me to get fully out of the current trajectory that we were on.
Sure.
It didn't pull me out completely, but it did pull me up slightly. It was like, all right, that's a good first step. It's not what I wanted, but it's a good first step in the right direction.
For me, it was the closest I thought she looked looked in her previous form, because she seemed to trust herself more, if that makes sense. Like when she is at her best, she hits a lot of meteors and stuff like that. Like that's kind of her go-to. And she was hitting a lot of them. And I was like, okay, like there's a confidence in her leg, there's a confidence in all these things. And it takes time. Like this is how athletes go, yada yada yada. I think for me, as someone who is I've closely studied Mercedes to know when she's there and into it. This was one of those that she was into it. Even still, while I was very high on it, I was not as high as like Cage Match was on it.
Yeah, Cage Match has a 8.62 right now.
Yeah, that's higher than I am. It's higher than I am.
I just refreshed it. 8.65.
Keeps going up. It's higher than I am, but at the same time, on a show that I thought was mostly lackluster, this really did still stand out a lot more than everything else for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think again, I'm hoping this is a leaping point for Mercedes. We go into the Hazuki match. That's obviously going to be great. We're going to go into the Dome. Whoever she picks for that, that's going to be great. If it's Mina, if it's someone else, we will see. But that will be her big match because that is one she's been waiting years for.
Yeah.
So I feel a lot better right now than I did beforehand. The TV stuff or whatever, they'll figure it out. I don't watch Mercedes for the angles. I watch her for the matches. And the quicker we get back to that, the better I will feel. And I would just still give her the world title.
Yeah. Yeah. And to that point, like, whereas Mercedes Chris for me wasn't like the full thing to get me out of here. And I think some people are kind of treating it like as such. And I don't necessarily agree online, but I think this match could be a great 1-2 punch with this and the Hazuki match.
Yes. That's what I always expected
it
to be. Well, I did think this was a great match.
I'm saying really good. I'm saying really good, by the way. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm saying it was really good.
My favorite matches of hers are all with great wrestlers since she's come back.
Mm-hmm.
It's Willow, Momo, and now Chris. I don't it's okay. It's okay to only have great matches with great or really good matches with really good wrestlers.
Yeah.
That's what most people do.
Yeah.
I
also want to point out the quote I pulled from her video package before this match.
Yeah.
It broke my mind, Scotty. The quote is, "How does it feel being the TBS champion? More like, what does it taste like? It tastes like money." That doesn't make any sense. What do you eat money? Why didn't you just say, what does it feel like being a TBS champion? It feels like money. Okay, why'd you throw in the taste part and then say it tastes like money? You eat money? That's what I was supposed to get from here? Like there's no reason to apply that second sentence. Why is it here? I got very upset by it and broke my brain. Moving right along, MJF defeats Roderick Strong 1335. I thought this was a solidly good 3-star match where it was very obvious who was winning, and we continue the train, like I said, with the Mariah May stuff. And again, doesn't fully apply to the women's division. I don't hate women's wrestling, Scotty, but the similar thing of we had an off ramp with this storyline, and we're going to continue it for at least a couple more months, probably at least till World's End. We'll see. But we're going to continue this storyline of Adam Cole and MJF for however much more longer. So a storyline that I'm fully not into. I know for a fact you're not into either, but we're going to continue going with it because that's the story we're telling. There's no acknowledgement if the fucking story sucks that we should maybe stop it. We're just going to keep doing it until we fully tell the story.
You know what's worse than one meme wrestler that thinks they're a main eventer? 2. And that's not about Roddy.
No, Roddy's great. Roddy was really solid in this match, I thought.
Despite his hilarious promo. Yes, he was good. I don't know. I don't care about MJF. I don't want to watch this guy. Don't care.
Me too.
I don't want to watch Adam Cole. I don't want to watch him. And they're feuding against each other.
Adam Cole's been the same guy for a decade.
Dude, they're still doing Undisputed Era stuff. Who the fuck cares? Who cares?
At least 5 years ago.
The Undisputed Era peaked 5 years ago.
I don't know about peaked. I would say 7 years ago, maybe, but yeah.
5 years ago was when they had all the gold.
5 years ago was I guess that's true. But 2019, I wouldn't say peaked because that was also the AEW start. And but semantics.
2018 then.
Semantics. That's what I said.
2018. My point is, a long time. It's been a long time since this mattered. No one is into this anymore. Not a soul gives a shit.
Do you remember? I distinctly remember this years ago, right? Undisputed, what were they called? Undisputed Era. What were they called in this company?
Undisputed Kingdom now.
Well, what are they called in this company?
They're the Undisputed Era.
They showed up with Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Adam Cole. They had the first Dynamite in Jacksonville at Daly's Place with them in it. They were in the main event and they won it. And I came on the show saying, I think that was a bad idea.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm going to go all the way now forward and being like, we're still doing the same group of people. I don't know what they were called, and it doesn't matter because it wasn't over fully to this extent. I was like, it was a bad idea. I wouldn't.
Oh, they're the Undisputed Elite.
Fuck, that sucks. That does suck. But I was like, I don't think that was a good idea. And now it's like, here we are. It's like we're still have the same exact characters, except Bobby Fish, who is arguably in a more interesting faction on MLW nowadays.
Yeah, here's the problem. We are somehow mixing the two most obnoxious and boring things together, which is the MJF Adam Cole story and the Adam Cole Undisputed Era Never Die story.
It's all part to me. It's all part of the same thing because it's the same characters over and over again.
All ass.
Yeah, and now if you want to throw in the OGK, that's Ring of Honor.
Get them out of there, man.
But you're pulling in like Ring of Honors. That's where you get that 10 decades.
Get them out of there, man.
Work with other people. Interact with other people.
Hear me out here.
Please,
Hear me out here. Here's the perfect case scenario for me. Okay, The OGK goes and just bees a tag team, right?
Yeah.
Roddy and Kyle, they just go be a tag team.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't give a fuck what Adam Cole and MJF do, but honestly, get away from me. Cole has looked awful. He's looked awful since he's come back.
Agreed.
I feel bad because he's a nice guy, great guy. That's what they always talk about. They're like, oh, you shouldn't dislike Adam Cole because he's a good guy. You can tell. And it's like, I don't dislike Adam Cole the human. I dislike Adam Cole the wrestler, which is the reason I do this.
None of my opinions are about the actual person. I don't care about the actual person when it comes to... Oh.
That might not be true for me. Hold. It's definitely not true for me. Continue.
None of these opinions
apply, but most of the time.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there are opinions where like, look, here's a contrasting example.
Please don't say Vince.
No. Logan Paul.
Okay.
Logan Paul.
There you go.
A contrasting example. You and I don't really enjoy Logan Paul as an individually person.
Not at all. No, not a great guy.
Not a great guy. Maybe you can argue he's gotten better as he's aged and become a dad now and all these sort of things, but we don't like him individually as a person, right?
He's a father?
Yeah, he's a father now. But as a wrestler, great wrestler. And we come here on here all the time of it sucks that Logan Paul is a great wrestler because I don't like the guy. It sucks that Adam Cole is a bad wrestler because I like the guy. It's the exact same thing, but just mirrors.
Reverse. Yeah. Let's finish this review. I have nothing else to say.
AEW World Tag Team 4-way match. Private Party retains the title. I thought it was fine. It was. I thought it was fine.
4 tag teams that I don't care about.
I thought it was fine. I thought they focused way too much on the acclaimed breakup angle that didn't have no payoff.
Yep. This feels like you're getting mad at me, but this is similar to I forget the tag team in WWE that have been breaking up since like WrestleMania. The one with the Aussie guy,
Grayson Waller.
Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, they've been breaking up for like 8 months or something. I was listening to on like a podcast. I was like, that's crazy. And I'm watching the Acclaimed. I was like, I feel like these guys have been breaking up for that long. It hasn't been that long, but it feels that long.
I've wanted them to break up for at least 3 months.
Oh wait, that might be a little different. But yeah,
you know, it'd be great.
Get Anthony Bowen's out of here, man.
You know, it'd be great. Here's my pitch.
They release Max Caster.
Swerve can't be in the C2. So for our alternate that we picked, our alternate, Anthony Bowens.
That'd be great.
And then you could still play into the angle and the story that you're telling. Yeah. But we're just gonna see Anthony Bowens be a great wrestler for how he doesn't even have to win, right? He doesn't have to win any of his matches.
You go over.
You can be an over guy. He can take a bunch of pins. And Max maybe can be involved in some of those pins every once in a while. I don't know, but
as long as he's not in the tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
Fine. Yeah. Oh God.
0 Hour
Private Party. Tough start.
0 Hour had Anna Jay defeats Diana Purrazzo. I have no real points here, but I do want to point one thing, which is Anna Jay went on the Stardom excursion for the 5-star Grand Prix, came back slightly improved, right? She's definitely gotten better since beforehand. But more so than that, she has gotten pushed way better, I would say, right? If you are a wrestler, you should go on these excursions because when you come back, you could get pushed.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about that. Go on these excursions. It could be worth it for you. And Anna Jay went for it, and she's improved. She improved a little bit, and she's getting a push. So I think that's good for her.
My big take is that I don't know why Deanna signed with this company. Continue.
Next up is the 4-way match.
I do money, but you know.
Well, yeah. 4-way match: Buddy Matthews, Dante Martin, Commander, Beast Mortos. What do you think of this match? Because I have
every time Dante Martin wasn't involved, it was really good. Every time he was involved,
I thought this whole match stunk. I gave it 1.5 stars.
Wow.
I thought this match was so fucking slow. It was so annoying with Daddy Magic opening bell being like, all right, this should be a quick, fast one. People flying over the place. And it starts with 4 guys staring at each other. I'm like, come on, let's go. Let's pick up the pace. No pace that ever got picked up. It got picked up very slightly. And when it got picked up and slightly, it wasn't good. You said the Dante Martin stuff.
I definitely didn't hate it like that. It wasn't great. It was a pre-show match.
I thought it was bad. I hated it.
I think Dante Martin was the problem.
I agree.
Anytime he got involved, it slowed down dramatically. I was like, man, what happened?
I
know what happened. He snapped his leg.
I just could not get into this match. I was so annoyed by like, why aren't we going? Why aren't we moving? Let's go.
I probably liked it more because I was half watching. Because like it was a pre-show match, and I was like, I don't give a shit. So like I turned my head and like Commando would hit a dive.
Yeah.
And you know, Buddy Matthews hit a dive, and then I saw the end, and I was like, all right, that's fine.
Yeah.
And every time I saw Dante Martin wrestling, I was like, oh, brother.
And of course, finally, our main event, singles match, Big Boom AJ versus QT Marshall. Big Show comes out with the Rizzler. I said consummate professional. The moment that camera turns red, immediately Riz face. And the next time he shows up, he's not paying attention, just looking at the ring bell hammer, which I thought was great. This match, it was slow for a bunch of older guys.
It was great.
But the technique was there. It was solid. Not a great wrestling match, but like they know what they were doing.
Great 80s style match.
80s style for sure. The crowd was super into it. The crowd was super into everything. And I get people might not like AJ. I get people don't like Big Justice or the Rizzler. We came on the moment they showed up at the last pay-per-view and dunked on them for a good amount of time. But here we are now, and I'm going to tell you folks, I'm still not into the whole Costco guys gimmick, and that's fine. It still slightly annoys me. But they knew how to tell a story and get a crowd invested, and this fucking crowd was invested. One of the only things that are over in this company. Should I bring back Big Boom AJ? I don't know about that.
Yeah, you should.
I'm not convinced, but I would say maybe do it a second time to see if it works, see if you got something here. But
it'll work.
The crowd was into this match. I enjoyed watching this match. This match was solid. You weren't expecting a 5-star classic. It's a fucking free match on a pre-show for a pay-per-view.
They should have went Broadway.
I said that too. I was like, I hope they go 30. I hope they go 60.
They had so much time. I was like, dear God.
Yeah, it was exactly what it needed to be, and it worked exactly for the crowd. Something that is a sad rarity on this entire show. So if you're coming on here, if anyone comes on and dunks on this match, don't listen to them because they're missing the point. Missing the point completely.
I don't know what else you need to say. Match of the year.
Match of the year for sure.
Big Boom AJ. What a guy.
I'm going to put it on my match of the year list at number 10, just so we get some votes. An honorable mention, Big Boom AJ versus QT Marshall.
I think the funny thing about this match, and one, it's half the reason I went somewhere because people wanted to watch it. Very funny. So it worked. It worked. People wanted to see Big Boom AJ and the Rizzler. No one see Big Justice. Let's not lie here. Sorry, Big Justice. But you're Janetti. I apologize. But you know, I think it nailed everything it needed to nail. I was vastly entertained.
Yeah.
I was all in on the power boom. I was all in on him hitting the dance on him. Great power slam.
Yeah.
Listen, the guy's a worker.
QT Marshall should get his flowers too, by the way.
I don't give a shit about him. This is all about Big Boom AJ. Great worker. What a great worker. He gets it. He just gets pro wrestling. That's the funny thing. Like, I remember when I first saw him pop up, I was like, this guy feels like a wrestler. It was like the way he does everything. Like, reiterate the same thing 100 times.
He cuts that promo, and all of us will be like, that was actually a really good promo.
Yeah. And it's like,
what it is?
Wait a minute. Because he's a pro wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
The gear killed me with the fucking cookies on it.
I thought the cookie. I don't know what it is about the cookie or the colors of it, but it looked like
pizza.
pizzas. It looked like pizza. I don't know what it was.
I don't know. It was very funny, very entertaining. If this is what you're gonna do on pre-shows, do it. Like
I fully agree.
I have no problem with it. I just wanted to see the Rizzler do a move. But the Rizzler doing anything was entertaining, so it's fine. He was the most over person on the entire show.
Fucking Road Warrior pop when his music hits.
The Rizzler music hits. Everyone's like, oh!
It's a fucking Rizzler.
It was like the glass broke and Stone Cold was running down to the ring in the Attitude Era. Instead, I was just a kid that was just doing.
This fucking 12-year-old.
He's 7.
He's 7? Oh my god.
He's 7. Kid looked terrified at times. I was like, I kind of feel bad.
Yeah, what do we
No, he's 7. Big Justice is 13.
That's the age difference between the two? Jeez.
Yeah, the spear was good though. I won't lie. That was a good spot.
Oh, great stuff. I'm glad we watched it. I'm glad it happened.
Let's do it again.
The friend I was watching wrestling with pitched they should do the Stone Cold Booker T grocery store battle at Costco.
That would be great.
And he also
be amazing.
He also said
it's a double chunk chocolate cookie. Smashes him in the head with it.
I don't know why. Maybe they tried, but I would have loved for them to have Costco involved in this match. And if they do that match, they should definitely get Costco involved.
Costco doesn't do sponsorships.
Yeah,
but through all this,
they should do a sponsorship of Costco, and if they should also do a sponsorship of Kirkland, and have QT Marshall represented by Kirkland, or maybe BJ's. I think it would be funnier if he was BJ Marshall.
Sam's Club.
Sam's Club. Yeah, I think there's some legs here. I like BJ's Marshall. That's fun.
BJ's Marshall.
Or Marshall. My apologies.
God. All right, let's end this. We got to talk about Survivor Series.
Yes, Survivor Series. I got 3 matches on the docket for you for Survivor Series. The Women's War Games match. What's that?
3 matches. It's insane.
Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, and Bayley versus Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax, and Candice LeRae. Feels like she's showing up here for no reason, but that's fine. But what do you think of this match?
It's War Games, so we have to throw everything together. That's what he did. That's what we did in NXT. That's what we're doing here. This is, my feelings on War Games, blood and guts.
I'm also looking at it. I understand that, like, I'm not super on top of what's happening in WWE, but why is Bayley and Io Sky teaming up here?
Bayley's not on
it. Wikipedia has Bayley listed here.
So no, that's not true. Jade got hurt. They didn't add anyone yet.
Okay, so the Wikipedia.
So Bayley's not actually in it.
Wikipedia is assuming Bayley is going to be the 5th.
Either assuming or it happened on the recorded SmackDown.
Oh, that is true.
Which is possible. And I don't know how they went about it because Io doesn't like Bayley. Bianca doesn't like Bayley. So we'll see. But they needed a woman. Yeah, I mean, again, it's all thrown together. This is what they do. They threw together the Liv Morgan story with Rhea Ripley, and they put Nia and Tiffany into that somehow. And
and they just had the last match of the last pay-per-view against each other.
Yeah, so like they're just throwing it all together. That's what they do.
Big old pop.
They did it in NXT all the time with the women's side. They don't have something natural for it. They just get the top women in there, which is fine. I wish we didn't have to theme things War Games. I just wish War Games happened. And it works for both sides because Blood and Guts happens at the same time every freaking year. And
Blood and Guts happens Blood and Guts at least doesn't like 2 matches,
Right. Well, that too. I don't like having 2 of these, let alone I don't like having 1 of these, let alone 2. So yeah, that's also a problem. But it's fine. It's fine. I don't care. Io's gonna do something crazy. We do this every year. I know exactly how this match goes.
Yeah. Io's gonna jump off the thing in a trash can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's a baby face now, so she will do that exact spot. Yes.
Yeah. World Heavyweight Championship match: Gunther versus Damian Priest.
Who the fuck cares? Who wants to see Damian Priest in a title match?
I don't know. I'm like vaguely intrigued. I thought the last title match
It was good,
better than expected, right?
Yeah, you're right. I
agree. It's one of those things of like, why is this happening? Damian Priest is definitely not winning.
This show's a one-match show.
Yeah.
This company has been a one-story company. Well, two-story, but the other one's not happening at the show at all. It's happening at Saturday night's main event.
Can't wait.
So like, great. Gunther and Damian Priest probably have a good big man match. Gunther has to win.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense for him to lose.
No, especially to the guy that he beat. He should win definitively, though, because the first time wasn't definitive.
And then you have the men's War Games match. You have the Blood Pack, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa.
The
blow a bunch of spots.
Tonga Loa.
Yeah, about to blow a bunch of fucking spots on this thing. And Bronson Reed, big Bronson Reed with them, of course.
Big Bronson Reed.
And on the other side, you have Roman Reigns, Jimmy and Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and then out of nowhere, due to the Paul Heyman connection, CM Punk.
Listen, people can say, it doesn't make sense. I don't care. Listen, I watched this part. I watched this segment. This was electric. I don't fucking care what anyone tells me. It was great. There's something about when that CM Punk music hits. It's just the best pop all the time. And like him and Roman face to face was like, I could feel the Rock starting to quiver in his boots. Like, oh shit, I gotta come back before something's bigger than me. I could feel he's like, Red One sucked. I need to get back there before something's better than me. Holy shit!
Is Red One out yet?
Yeah, it's flopped.
I'm gonna look up the box office mojo results real quick, but you go ahead.
It was really bad. So I am moved by the how do we make CM Punk make sense? Paul Heyman comes back. Yeah, it did terrible.
What was their fucking budget? Go
200 ahead. Over 200 million.
250, and so far, how long have they been out? For I guess a week. But that's the most they're probably gonna make. Worldwide, 94 mil. Ooh. Fun fact, by the way, if anyone's interested in movie budgets and movie box office stuff, for most big box office movies, especially like Marvel or Disney or Red One here, if you the idea that we in the industry use is that you look at the budget's $250 million, you double that to account for all of the marketing that the studio is doing, because the marketing is not part of the actual budget for the filming. The marketing is part of the studio's thing. So you're looking at, you're spending more money. Arguably, a lot of times it's double. So you're looking at $500 million for the studio spent on Red One. And so far in a week, they've made $94 million.
They're not making more.
It is going to streaming any day now.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have a CGI polar bear. Yeah, so like this is the only match I'm interested in. I don't like war games, so that doesn't help. But I do like the cheap pop of essentially everyone on the OG Bloodline side because they all have them except for Jimmy. Sorry. I don't know. I watched the segment. I was sold. I was like, there is a connection here because of Heyman that makes enough sense.
Yep.
Because the whole thing was they couldn't find someone. The wise man wasn't answering his phone. First time wise man shows up, he has someone at CM Punk. That's a history. That's a part of my fandom when growing up that I loved was Heyman and Punk. So I'm into that. I'm into it. Will the match be good? Probably not. But listen, if you're going to add anyone to try to make war games matter again, this was the guy.
Plus,
because he's going to do his best.
You have also now created, let's be real, an off-ramp here for Roman Reigns to feud with someone else. He can now feud with CM Punk over Heyman. This is an offer.
Yeah, that's why I told you The Rock was freaking out in his boots. He's like, It's like, okay, me and Cody gotta go create magic because we're running out of business here.
I'm the people's champion. I'm the people's champion.
But yeah, Roman and Punk face to face. I was like, they did it. That's all they had to do. They sold it. They sold everything they needed to.
Yep.
WWE has it so easy right now. They just have so many things that they can just do.
Yeah, when the crowd's on your side, you can do simple booking.
And you don't really think of it until they do it, and that's like, oh, this is bigger than anything they have.
Yeah,
and they just have that like 5 times over. And they also somehow made Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens interesting again, despite having just done it, because Kevin Owens, great worker. That Cody Rhodes guy, that son of a bitch, he always comes around. But yeah, this show should be Survivor Series War Games, which is never really that great of a show. There you go.
Yeah, next Saturday.
I missed the elimination matches.
Yeah, the 5-on-5s.
I love those. Those were great because like you could story those. And I feel like this would actually have worked really well with this match. Is a 5-on-5 elimination match.
Yeah, that could have been fun because then you could have just gotten down to Solo versus Roman, and that could have been a fun little bit here.
Punk and Roman versus like 4 of them, and then like how is that going to work? You know, and then Punk gets eliminated because Roman doesn't want to work with him or something, and then Roman Solo
he gets eliminated because of Tongaloa,
the infamous.
Yeah, it's fine. It's working for them. That's good with them.
Everything works for them.
We're a little bit over. We can do a quick breeze through historic crossover.
I know you want me to tell me this TNA card, so I'm just going to let you do it.
Okay, we'll do the TNA card. So TNA Turning Point is happening Friday.
I didn't look at it.
I promise. I told you not to look at it because I love it. I love this segment. I totally did not know that TNA had a pay-per-view this Friday. It's not necessarily pay-per-view. I think it's a
TNA Plus special.
TNA Plus, yes. TNA Plus special taking place WrestleCade weekend. So good on them, I guess.
All right, let's see if I'm entertained. Here's my face.
Okay, we'll start here. And I'm gonna guess a no. TNA X Division title match. Moose defending his title against Laredo Kid. Weird one. No,
that won't be good. No.
Yeah. Next up, special singles match. Frankie Kazarian versus Mike Santana.
That would be pretty good. I mean, I think it's gonna be sneaky pretty good.
That's not too bad.
That will be here's my take. That will be better than MJF versus Roddy.
Oh, I agree. I can agree with that. I'm saying I'm looking at a 3.5 special right there, baby. That's what I'm looking at.
TNA. Shout out to Mike Santana.
Yeah.
The only guy willing to make the right move for his career.
Yes. Thanksgiving Turkey Bowl match. I don't know what that means. I think this is a battle royal. John Schuyler.
Okay.
Brian Myers.
Okay.
PCO. Hammerstone.
Holy shit, I forgot he was there.
Eric Young.
Forgot he was there.
And Joe Hendry. That is your Turkey Bowl Thanksgiving match.
Oh, this guy went from supposed to be world champion to the Turkey Bowl.
Oh, he's winning this, buddy. He is winning this match.
What do you win?
I don't fucking know.
By the way, not that I have a take. The people you said were John Schuyler and Kurt Hawkins. Who the fuck? Like, come on. That's terrible.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I legitimately don't know. I don't even know.
No, it's fine. I don't. I'm not gonna watch it either way. I will watch some of this show, but I will not watch that.
You're gonna watch? Well, you don't know what the show is, so what do you mean? Good point.
Well, I will watch Frankie versus Santana. That's what I will watch so far.
6-man tag here: the Hardys and Ace Austin versus the Rascals and Kushida.
Huh?
I think this is a little bit of going to have a little Chris Bay energy probably about this match.
Oh, that's nice.
So
I'll watch this. That sounds nice.
yeah, I think
She's back.
She's back, baby. Kevin Knight's not in here.
IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion Kushida.
Yeah, I wonder if it was going to be another 4-way for the titles or something with Chris Bay and Kevin Knight.
They must have like promised they weren't working with WWE anymore because New Japan disappeared from all of their shows until then.
Yeah. So yeah, 6-man tag. I think it'd be fine. We'll see. I think it might have Chris Bay vibes to it, which would be nice to see. This will be. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Josh Alexander versus Steve Macklin happening again. This time, no disqualification.
They should follow the Steve Macklin PCO method.
I agree. Fully co-sign that one. I'm going to skip to the main event. I'm going to skip to the main event.
You're going to skip to the main event?
Yeah. TNA World Title match. Nick Nemeth versus Eddie Edwards.
2 3/4.
And finally, the match that the whole reason I'm talking about this card today. For the TNA Knockouts World Championship, Masha Slamovich versus Jordan Grace in a 2 out of 3 falls match.
Yeah! We bring the boom! All right, TNA. This should be the main event. Why is this not the main event?
That's why I skipped it. To me, this should be the main event.
It could still be the main event.
Still could be. I would make it the main event.
This should be Jordan Grace's last TNA match.
Yeah.
I don't care if she has a month or 2 left. This should be her last match. End it the right way. End it strong for Masha. I am into it.
I would not have brought up this card, and we would not be talking on the show if that match wasn't here. The moment I saw it, is the exact moment I messaged you on Slack and said, "Do not look at this card. We have to get the reaction."
It's funny because when you said that, I was expecting like I don't know, fucking Moose versus PCO in a 3 stages of hell match or something. So I was like, he's gonna want to kill me with this. I know this.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
Yeah, the card overall not awful. I mean, a fine card or whatever. And then you have this match, and it's like, oh, this I am actually legitimately very excited for.
I am there.
I am officially there.
We'll be watching. We'll watch your match. Thank you.
Yeah. Wow. So get excited. TNA Turning Point this Friday. I'm going to argue that most people listening to this did not know that match is happening. But it's happening, folks. I talked about, we said
I didn't know.
Modern US women's match I said was Willow and Chris. What's a match that can argue and fight that? Jordan Grace versus Masha Slamovich at the last pay-per-view. Here they are doing it again for 2 out of 3 falls. They're fighting for it. They're fighting for the best women's match of the year.
Please, crowd, be there.
Yeah. Well, it's WrestleCade weekend, so I don't know. I'm unsure. But
remember when they did the Burning Hammer?
Yeah.
There's only one, besides the Power Boom being the greatest move since the Burning Hammer.
Of course.
They should bring out the Power Boom. Shout out to my good friend Dylan. He said that to me the other day when I was talking about the Power Boom. I was like, that's crazy. What a sentence. The best moves is the Burning Hammer. I didn't even know what the Power Boom looked like until I watched it yesterday. I was like, wow, it's
a power bomb.
It's something. It's something. It was a fall forward power bomb. If he sat out, I don't think he would have been able to. Never mind. Yeah, I'm locked in, bud.
Yeah, that is a 1-match card if I've ever seen one. but the rest of the card is fine. It's stuff that's skippable with stuff that's like.
I will watch Mike Santana. I will watch Steve Macklin, and I will watch Masha and Jordan Grace. Those are the 4 pillars of TNA as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, get into it, folks. Get into it. All right. Well, I think that's it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. Got a lot of great discussion, a lot of great AEW discussion. And yeah, we'll be back next week to discuss. What are we talking about next week? I mean, Survivor Series. TNA Turning Point. I've now gotten Scotty full on board. Well, maybe not full on board. Do we? Oh, next week is December already. Oh, hot damn!
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Do we dare discuss the preview MLW Eric Bischoff's one shot presented by Eric Bischoff? Ooh, that's speaking of the TNA Turning Point stuff. Ooh, that is a we'll see. But yeah, we got more stuff probably to talk about as well next week. Scotty, before we go, what was your match of the week and what are your plugs for the fine folks at home?
Well, I will say happy Thanksgiving to everyone who celebrates. Enjoy your holiday week. I know this is the first big holiday week of multiple to end the year here in the US especially. So enjoy it. Eat food and stuff and watch football and Charlie Brown's Thanksgiving. That thing? People do that?
Sure.
Listen, I'm already in Christmas mode, so like I forgot Thanksgiving was happening.
Yeah.
I
don't know if we're gonna happen this year, but I think my wife and I will just start the tradition and we'll start making more of like a Friendsgiving next year. But I've pitched to my wife that the day after Thanksgiving, post Thanksgiving morning, Friday, right? I pitched her that we should do a Friendsgiving type event where we invite everyone over for like breakfast, for Dunkin' Donuts, right?
okay.
So you spent all the time and effort into Thanksgiving dinner. Here the next
This is
day,
a great way to wrap it back around, by the way, just because we talked about Dunkin' Donuts on
yeah,
the last 4 minutes.
correct. It's a great way. You put all the time and effort into that. So here's a way to invite people over, continue the idea of hanging out with friends, but doing it on the next day where it's a super easy breakfast and we don't have to think about it. Plus, there will be coffee involved. And of course, I would call that the Turdunkin. Thank you very much. That's our Turdunkin event that I will gracefully give to anyone that would like it as well. Scotty, plugs, match of the week. You're mad because it's good. The Turdunkin.
Oh God, I hate you. Lovingly, of course. Kind of. I don't know. That kind of pissed me off.
I'm your Adam Cole. You.
By the way, everyone, if you were here for last week's episode, he did eat the nacho cheese in the Taco Bell, and it did go all over him again. I don't even know if that was on air.
I don't think it was on air. Last week, I mentioned to Scotty that if you get a beefy 5-layer burrito, so many times the cheese spills out all over me. And immediately after recording, I went to Taco Bell, got the beefy 5-layer burrito, and spilled it all over me. Oh
God, we have fun here. What was I talking about?
Plugs match of the week.
Right. Well, I had a good trip this week. I came back rejuvenated, re-inspired. So content is gonna be made by me. So that's when I tell you to follow me at Scotty Wrestling on Twitter, if that floats your boat. But if you're over on Blue Sky, or as the cool people are calling it, Wrestle Sky, I'm not one of the cool people, so tough for me. I enjoy both. Well, I don't really enjoy Twitter, but I enjoy Blue Sky. I think Blue Sky is not, like, it's just kind of fun. It's fun. You can follow me there, both Scotty Wrestling, if you want to check me out there. This week, while on vacation, I decided to break the Sorryism card and then deliver a sorry interview, because that's what I do when I'm on breaks. I'm not really good at taking breaks. If sorry calls, we do that, but otherwise, that is my work. That is my life. So content is coming. It's the end of the year. It's my favorite time to make content. I got ideas cooking up. So, yeah, that's a lot of fun. My match of the week was Mayu and Momo from Historic Crossover. I know, shocked, stunned, bamboozled. I know, I picked that. Great match. Very happy Mayu's getting her Tokyo Dome moment on January 4th. Just hoping to get more than 6 minutes. That is where I am. That is
a tough one.
That is what I'm hoping for. I know, because we got to give those minutes to checks the card. Oh, right. Not great. Got to give those minutes to Shota Umino. Fuck. Terrible. But I thought Mayu Momo was great. I thought Historic Crossover was overall as a show worse than the first one.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it. The show is totally fine with one great match.
Yep.
Fine.
If you missed everything besides the one match, I reviewed that show multiple times this week. I said, watch the one match. You don't have to watch anything else.
Yeah.
And that's that. That is my review of historic crossovers. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a good Thanksgiving. I'll kick it over to Ryan to hit all his plugs and his match of the week.
Yeah, my match of the week is going to be probably
1954. Yeah, Fran Tarkington against George St. Pierre in a old Iron Man 30-minute classic where they just did old. No, what is it?
1995. We're going over to
I knew it was 19. I just knew it was coming.
WWF in your house.
In my house?
In your house.
Get out of my house.
Bret Hart versus Hakushi. Really good
Why?
match.
I just need to know why. How did this come about?
I have like podcasts saved up of like all the in your houses, so I'm just watching them and I'm gonna listen to the podcast. Why? Because
in your houses?
Yeah, I think VOW has content. There's like
Are you getting attacked? Ryan, are you okay? Send me a signal.
Blink twice. Blink twice. Spill your BV5 layer burrito if you're being attacked.
Get out of here. We've done this too long.
Plugs.
Right,
count out on Blue Sky. We're everywhere else. Twitter, Instagram.
Why take less when you can get a beefy 5-layer burrito?
I forgot that drop is still in there. We're everywhere on that. Patreon.com/countoutpod. Tonight, Scotty, I'm recording the first episode of the Ballot Season 2. I don't know exactly when it's going to come out.
I don't know if you know this. The Hall of Fame just can't. just happened.
And I'm in it, baby. I'm ready. But we're recording it tonight. I don't know exactly when it would come out, but I will say on air officially, it will be not on the Patreon, but it will be public feed. Anyone will be able to listen to it. It'll be also part of the count out feed. So if you subscribe to that, you'll be able to hear it. If you're subscribed on YouTube, you can be able to hear it there. All of the audio of season 2 is going to be free and available to everybody. But that does not mean that the Patreon is going to be losing value. Season 1 will fully still be up there. Plus, I have new series coming to the Patreon very shortly. And I guess I'll announce it here. New series coming next year called Hustle, Loyalty, and Retrospect. I guess it's not.
That's a great name.
Hustle, Loyalty, Retrospect. Name invented by Scotty Edwards. We're going to be talking, since it's his retirement year, we're looking at the career of one John Cena. So we'll get more of that down the line. Hustle, Loyalty, Retrospect coming to you. Patreon.com/countoutpod in the new year. So definitely stay on board with that. And we'll have a lot more stuff on the ballot coming up next year for all those inductees. Not inductees, but balloteers. Balloteers? Balloteers. I think that's everything from me. Thank you, everybody, in the comments for leaving comments. We appreciate the conversation. Until next week, we'll see you all later. Goodbye, everybody.